MPW Mocklink TV and Mocklink Internet, online at mpw.org. Each weekday morning, our local talk segment brings you the people who are helping move our community forward. Let's start the show.
Good morning, AM 860, FM 95.1, KWDPC. I'm Jordan Davis. Glad to be with you here this morning. It's a lot of fun hanging out. Once again, it's brought to you by Muscatine Power and Water. Go to mpw.org, check out Mocklink Internet and TV that are coming soon. Get signed up, be a new subscriber, mpw.org. Again, I'm Jordan Davis. Thanks for joining us this morning here for Moving Forward, brought to you by Muscatine Power and Water. And in the studio with me this morning, Ryan Brimmeyer from the Muscatine County Conservation Department. How are you this morning, Ryan?
I'm doing great, Jordan. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Really glad to have you in, as always. It's a pleasure to get to speak with you because it is a very busy time of year, and it looks like we're having some technical difficulties. I'm going to try and help John get it figured out here really, really fast. What's the problem, John? Are we not getting any audio, or what's the deal? Oh. The SD card's not put in. There, I think I got it. I just plugged it back in, so you might try again. All right. So sorry about that, folks. We're just trying to get some of our technical difficulties here figured out and some new equipment that sometimes can be a bit of a pain in the rear. But once again, this is Moving Forward. Ryan Brimmeyer in the studio with me this morning. Ryan, let's talk about hunting. Let's talk about what it takes to become a hunter here in Iowa and some other stuff you guys have going on. Let's start with the events though that you guys have coming up. I know you've got one coming up in late January.
Yeah, it's not really one of our events, but there's an eagle watching event coming up on January 27th. That's a Saturday, from 9 to 2, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Army Corps of Engineers is going to have some rangers down at Riverside Park, cool. So down on the riverfront.
Okay.
And then I know we'll send a couple of our naturalists down to help out, and there'll be spotting scopes, and
Sweet. Essentially
it's just like a big eagle viewing party, and hopefully that's the one Dave was talking about when he mentioned putting that one on the air. But yeah, it's always a blast to see eagles flying around, and it's kind of interesting, because they like to hang around those rivers where the open water is, so they can hunt and catch fish. And
yep, and it's always fun to get to watch them. We go some places where the river slows down a whole bunch. They crowd on that ice, man. Any little opening that's there, they're right there, right on the edge, just looking down, looking for something to eat. But they're a lot of fun to watch. Such cool animals, It's and they're. Gosh, they're huge. I never really had a respect for just how big a bald eagle was until I saw one up close and personal at I think it was one of those outdoor days or something like that somewhere up in the cities, if I remember correct. I can't remember what the name of the event was, but they're just huge animals, and their wingspan is humongous. So that should be a lot of fun. That should be a really cool thing to do. And you said there'll be spotting scopes there, so folks don't have their own viewing equipment. Excellent.
Yep, I've never been to it personally, but from what I've read about it and everything, it seems like it'll be a fun event. You'll be able to get a close shot of the eagles, and
excellent. I'm sure there'll be some experts there too to tell you what you're looking at. Yep. Because it's weird. It's the bird animal part of the kingdom is the animal kingdom birds. I can't spit out a word right now, Ryan. Birds have kind of a weird thing where I think the females might be bigger than the males in eagles, or is it the other way around, or is it?
That's usually correct.
I can't remember. I remember reading that somewhere. So it's just kind of a different, a whole different rule with them. But that'll be really cool, and that should be a whole lot of fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Well, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions because I'm new to Iowa in a sense. I've only been here for about. Not quite a year, coming up on a year in January. You were actually here at the station, but then actually living in Muscatine, not nearly as long. So I'm really looking forward to becoming, a resident hunter here in Iowa. So I'm just curious kind of what that takes. I'm sure, got to go through a hunter safety course, or I need to take, and I need to get, licensed up and all that kind of stuff. So what all does it take?
Yeah, your first step, you're going to, like you said, find that hunter safety course. Usually we have a couple a year, one in I believe the early spring, and then one in the late fall that you can do, and that's an all-day thing for us. Other places might span it out over several days for 3 hours a day or whatever in the evenings. We like to get it all done on a Saturday. Pretty much takes up your whole day. Other than that, that's the first thing you want to get done. You go through that class, get that certificate, and then you can go out and buy your hunting license. Otherwise, the DNR just started. It's called an apprenticeship license, and if you have someone who is, has gone through their hunter safety course and has a hunting license, you can tag along with them and with that apprenticeship license. And I think for a maximum of 2 hunts or whatever. So you can go around with them too, just to make sure that's what you're wanting to do. But it sounds like you've been hunting before. That's why something you're interested in. So you'd want to go through that hunter safety course, and after that you can get your license. So.
Excellent. And I've got absolutely. I went through Illinois' hunter safety course when I was, 12 or 13, I think. I can't remember, but
okay.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that. It was really cool. One, to get to learn, ethics, ethical hunting and sportsmanship, and but then also learning all the rules and regulations that were behind it. That was the only long part, was learning all the rules and regulations, what you had to be careful of. But I'm glad that they went into depth about all that kind of stuff, because it's good to know. It's good to know that information before you step out and do your first bit of hunting. So
right, yeah,
and it's good to have a refresher too. So I'm excited to retake the course as well.
Yeah, and I don't know, since you've been through a course in a different state, if that transfers over, you might want to ask someone with the DNR on that, or someone that's been around a little bit longer than I have, because I've never dealt with something like that.
Gotcha.
That's all kind of the state that handles the DNR, or the hunter education stuff, and we kind of just help put on the classes and whatnot, since there's not a lot of them to spread around to do that. So. Right.
Excellent. Well, you know what? I'm probably, regardless of that, I'll probably go through, because I'm sure Iowa's got different rules and some, especially when it comes to I'm sure public land hunting and all that kind of stuff. There might be a little bit different differences in between the two. So,
yeah, there could be. I mean, there's always a few differences.
There's always something different in between states. You think about how different it is just for like concealed carry between Iowa and Illinois. It's drastically different. Like if you're in Illinois, you can carry into Iowa, but if you're in Iowa, you can't carry into Illinois. So it's a whole different dynamic. You just have to know all the rules, and you got to be paying attention to what you're doing before you actually step out and have an idea of what where you can go, what you can do, I think I can't remember if harvest limits for like ducks and stuff is any different here in Iowa than it would be in like Missouri, or if that's kind of the nation standard. I'm not really sure, because I know that there's very, very specific limits of what you can take when it comes to duck hunting. And the obvious with deer, you get a tag for a deer, and that's your one tag for that deer. So, but ducks and geese are kind of a whole different ball game when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a little different. So, I mean, like I said, I can't speak for the other states, but I know our state might be a little bit different than other ones. So it's always good to check into those regulations before you go out and make sure you know what you're shooting at before.
Absolutely.
you
and
take it.
That is the most important thing about when you're going out and you're going hunting, especially for waterfowl, is having identification down, because you do not want to shoot something that you're not supposed to shoot.
Right.
For one, because you could be taking an endangered animal that's on the protected list. So that's bad ethically, and that's bad, bad environmentally too. So you definitely want to be paying attention and know what it is that you're going to be shooting at. But it can be tough with ducks, because sometimes they'll come whistling in out of nowhere over the top of a tree, and you pull up and shoot, and you don't know exactly what it is until maybe a split second too late. But it is a lot of fun. It is definitely worth it to go through those classes and to know exactly what you need to have a good, safe hunt. So
yeah, I mean, we see it every year. There's still accidents happening. So, obviously, people are need refreshers, or they're just not thinking before they're acting. So it's always good to kind of brush up on those safety tips and
absolutely
all that.
Absolutely.
So
and I think and you mentioned before that I think there might have been was there an accident sometime this year, like
I think during the opening weekend of second shotgun season there was an accident that resulted in a fatality. Unfortunately, I didn't read too much into it, but from what I read, it looked like someone in their had shot and injured someone in their own party. So
yeah. You just have to be so careful, But you think about shooting sports and things like hunting have one of the lowest. They have one of the lowest, fatality or injury rates of any sport anywhere of any kind, because it's just folks are so careful, and you're handling firearms, so you definitely have to be. But it's just it for the most part, you hear about those one or two accidents that are just a terrible thing, but it can't be the stigma for the entirety of all hunting, everything like that.
Yeah, when you think about how many people go out and are hunting, each season, that's very low. And unfortunately, we'd like it to be zero, but unfortunately that stuff happens sometimes, and It's just, be aware of your surroundings and know where everyone's at.
Absolutely, and you can't say enough for that little bit of human fault that can come into stuff. Stuff can be perfectly planned or perfectly executed, and then there's just one little thing that can cause that accident. Yep. So, well, it has been a lot of fun getting to talk to you this morning, Ryan. And I'm really excited to get everything figured out so I can do some hunting here in Iowa. Because man, do I see a lot of ducks here! Holy cow! And that gets me so excited. I get to walk out and I see them every morning, or I can hear them. I can hear them feed calling down there on the waterfront.
Oh, yep,
that's awesome.
Yep.
You just can't beat it.
You can't.
It'll be exciting to finally get everything spruced up so that I can actually do a little bit of hunting myself here in Iowa. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. It's always a blast. So
it is a really good time. And let's let's mention, so you're out of Deep Lakes Park, right?
Yeah, the majority of the time.
Yep. So is there anything new going on? Everything. Nothing's probably really froze over, is it right now?
No. Down there, it really doesn't freeze over a whole lot, so ice fishing's not really recommended down there.
I was just about to ask. I wasn't sure. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we're just kind of pushing away with those cabins and a few other projects down there.
Sweet.
But yeah, real quick on the ice fishing, now it's starting to get cold out. It doesn't feel like it this week, but...
No, I mean, what are we sitting at today? 44 degrees?
Yeah, past 3 days we've been in the 50s or whatever. But anyways, just make sure, before you go out, make sure we've had several days of nice, good ice-forming weather. Mm-hmm. When you're going out, check the ice. Don't just walk out on there
and expect.
Drill some test holes. Mm-hmm. It's always nice to have the ice cleats or the I can't even think the other name I use for them, but to walk on the ice, so you're not slipping around.
Yeah.
Let people know that you're going out, what time you're going out, what time you expect to be back, and bring those ice picks that in case you do fall through the ice. Those could be the
back up. Yep.
Yeah, I mean that could be the difference between life and death. I mean, it's a lot different than, any other time. If you're falling in the water when it's cold, your body goes into shock, and it's going to be tough to get out of there because that ice is going to be slippery. So let's keep that in mind too when we go out ice fishing this year and try to keep those accidents to a minimum as well.
Absolutely. And I think about it. I'm very conscious of that when I've gone out because I'm a big dude. Getting out on the ice is not something that really appeals to me. But ice fishing is so much fun. I've gone out and I've done it a couple times, and it's so cool. When the ice is that thick,
right?
Instead of
I agree.
That thick.
The more ice, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. But so folks should be careful. But it's a really fun sport and it's a good time. But I just don't know that. I don't think it's probably cold enough here.
We definitely have had any good ice forming weather. I mean, any ice that's on there right now, I doubt it's thick enough. But if it is, it's not going to be very strong ice. So I wouldn't even risk it. I'm more one of the people that errs on the side of caution. I want that really thick ice before I go out. Because what they recommend, like 3 inches, I think, for a person to go out on the ice, and to me, that's just way too thin. I'm already a little eerie walking out on ice.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's cool. That's really cool. So I hope we get them. I say I hope it gets that cold so that folks can do some ice fishing. But I also am on the side of I don't want it to be too cold.
I've been enjoying this weather.
I really enjoy this. This is pretty near perfect where you can if you want you could roll down the windows on your way home from work at about midday or whatever it is, or when you're out on lunch because it's just almost that nice.
Yeah, it's been beautiful out. So.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thanks a bunch, Ryan. We got to get going. We've got stuff going on here, so we better wrap up. But thanks so much for stopping in and talking to us this morning.
It's always a pleasure.
Yep. Ryan Burnmeyer joining us from the Muscatine County Conservation Department. And Ryan, you're a park ranger, right?
Correct. Yep.
Excellent. Well,
so
thanks.
You'll see me around a lot.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again to Ryan for joining us this morning. It's been a real pleasure. As always, this is Moving Forward, brought to you by Muscatine Power and Water. I'm Jordan Davis. Thanks for joining us here on the voicemuscatine.com.